Good Monday evening. I was going to say morning almost. It's evening now. It's been a long weekend. We are now in February. It's February 2nd, 2026. It's the week after the storm, I could call it now, because this was an all-timer for a lot of locations here on a Monday. We had a hard refreeze this morning, and guess what? We're going to see more of that tonight. So let's get right to your impact headlines, because we saw some melting today. We did make it into the 40s, some sun with clouds, but there was melting. Refreezing, icy spots, warmer with some clouds tomorrow, and midweek showers. I think we'll talk a lot about this, rumors of snowflakes and other things. It's not that I don't think there couldn't be flakes somewhere in our area. It's not going to be a big deal, and it looks like it's going to be centered more to our east, which I'll talk about in a minute. But we got to talk about this morning. 10 degrees, okay? That was a record low. We tied the record set back in 1917, and we were one of the warmer spots this morning, which tells you just how cold it is. We saw a lot of single digits and even below zero. Siler City in the central part of the state got down to 0, and Lumberton got down to 1 below. So it was really, really cold this morning. I wanted to recap today because it was a huge jump, 32-degree jump in temperature from 10 this morning to 42 this afternoon. We will likely be even warmer than that tomorrow. But let's look back at the weekend storm. Our season total, this is for the whole season now, stands at 12.2. So we are over a foot of snow for the season. If you look back in the last 10 years, you can add all those up, and they don't equal what we got just in one weekend. What a crazy storm it was. We could talk about all the historical parts of this. 4th biggest one-day storm, 6th biggest multi-day storm, and really the most snow we've seen in any storm since 2004. I was there in 2004. This had some similarities as far as how heavy it was at times, some drifting, but also there was some differences. This was super dry snow. I don't ever remember a snow this powdery in the Carolinas. In some cases, 22 to 25 to 1 liquid to snowfall ratios, which means if this was rainfall, it would have only been like a half an inch of rain. That tells you how much fluff we had to it. In fact, that's less than how much precipitation we had during the ice storm the weekend before, which was almost an inch of sleet and 0.3 of an inch of ice. But we have seen big changes. 24-hour temperature change. Pretty significant, 5, 6, 7, even 10 degrees warmer. Tonight, this is all going to be kind of skeptical here, because I don't think we're going to be this warm in some spots. Where that snowpack is most prevalent, I'm not going to be shocked, especially up in here, the area that got 14 to 15 inches. You're going to see some lower teens, maybe even some upper single digits. Like a 9 or something isn't going to be shocking me. But everybody's in the teens in your 20s. It's plenty cold enough to refreeze anything that has melted today. Tomorrow, temperatures warm up. We get back maybe close to 50. That's with some clouds. The key part here is that southwest wind, which should help warm up and melt a lot of that snow. So, middle of the week, interesting storm. We've got a cold front coming in. Pretty straightforward with the first part of this. It's all rain. Rain on Tuesday night into Wednesday. The front moves through. Cold air tries to move back in going into Thursday. A low pressure forms on the front. Might throw some moisture back up over the front. We could see some snow flurries north or northeast of us. I'm not super inclined to believe this is going to be a big deal, because cold air chasing moisture never really works very often. And even if the worst case scenario sets up, this has no impact. It's just a few wet snowflakes mixing with rain, which likely melt on contact. The low temperature Wednesday night to Thursday is like 31, so it's barely marginal for anything issue-wise. But I'll show you what it looks like here. We'll go futurecast clouds tomorrow. Here comes the rain. Now, notice Wednesday, it's mostly rain, but we see some blue on here. So let's kind of highlight some areas. You see where the snow is showing up in our short-range guidance. We do have a few snowflakes up here, but I think it's more over in here, like the Raleigh area east. That's an area I'll watch, because the low pressure system is more likely going to have some moisture to work with to our east. And so wrapping back to the northwest would mean some of these areas in here could see some snow. So if there's one area that could see, and maybe some wet snow, half an inch, certainly looks like nothing over an inch over there, but even there, I doubt it's going to amount to a whole lot. We need the rain. Lost in the snow and the ice the last 2 weeks. Wasn't a lot of moisture. We missed our drought monitor. We didn't really play much about it last week or talk about it, but we've got moderate to severe drought for most of our area. We need rainfall. The snow, as I mentioned, only had a half an inch of liquid in it, so it's not like it's going to do a whole lot to help out with the moisture. I'll quickly show you the drought monitor because we didn't really show it last week because we were all talking about the snow. But look at this. I mean, the entire state of North and South Carolina is in some form of drought, and most of us are in severe drought. So we desperately need this moisture. So whatever comes in the middle of the week, we're going to need it. It's going to be much needed rainfall. I actually hope it's a whole bunch, but it doesn't look like that much. Now, the next question I'm getting, pattern change. When are we going to melt all this? When's it going to warm up? When is spring? Technically spring, regardless of what the ground rat told you today, that's coming up at the end of February. February is a really unique month. I don't know if you've looked at the calendar, but it's like a perfect month, right? The 1st was on a Sunday. The 28th is on a Saturday. So like it's 4 complete full weeks.
Look at a calendar. We haven't at school in a week and a half.
I
don't
know
know what day it is.
I just noticed that today. I'm like, that's like a perfect month. It's like a perfect square month. Every week is 7 days in the month.
There you go.
You don't get that very often. 28 days. So like a perfect month. I mean, it is crazy. But we technically, climatologically, once we get to March 1st, that's the beginning of spring. But we know in the Carolinas, first 2 weeks of March, very, very historic events have happened snowfall-wise the first 2 weeks. So we don't write off winter weather yet, but there is sign of a pretty significant pattern change here in February. February can be crazy warm. We've had some crazy warm ones in the past. You can get severe weather in February. That's certainly happened, but a warming trend is more likely than anything going to start pushing in, but it's going to take a while to get here. It's not going to really get here until maybe next week at this time. So your Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day, got that rain on Wednesday, late Wednesday, early Thursday. Could you see a few wet snowflakes? Sure. I don't think it's going to be a big deal, but stay tuned. I mean, obviously things could change. You see the temperatures, 31 and 39. I wouldn't call that warm, but that's certainly not great snowmaking weather like we just had. Winter Olympics start on Friday, opening ceremony. Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday right here on WCNC. And also Artemis 2, which will hopefully launch, but it may or may not. We're going to talk about that coming up here in a couple minutes. But that is when the launch window is open on Sunday evening. So we'll see if we get a launch there. Either way, it's going to start warming up around here. Temperatures next week are back near 60. The average high now is 54. So a warm-up is on the way. Stick around. We'll talk more about the weekend storm. We'll talk a little bit about Artemis and get you ready for a week of melting. Stick around. We'll be right back.